Okay, here we are back again with more Dragon Age Inquisition. And we're still talking to people, because I want to talk to some people. And up next, I think we're going to talk to Varric, because Varric seems like a good guy to talk to.
Need something?
Yes. Let's see here. I have a personal question.
Can I ask you something, Varric?
You want to talk about me? I'm flattered. Also inclined toward extravagant lies.
Right. So, where are you from?
Are you from Ferelden? Orlais?
Free marches, born and raised in Kirkwall. And despite whatever you've heard, no, Kirkwall's not that bad.
Okay. So how do you know Cassandra?
How do you and Cassandra know each other?
You heard about the Kirkwall Chantry being destroyed? The guy responsible used to be a friend of mine.
Ah, yes.
The Seeker had questions about that, and I had answers.
Indeed you did have some. So, what do you do?
I'm not clear on your line of work. You're a merchant?
I'm a businessman. My family has a seat in the Dwarven Merchants Guild. Merchants buy and sell goods. Businessmen buy and sell stores. In my spare time, I manage a spy network, and occasionally, I write books.
Okay. So, what books do you write?
You're an author. What kind of books have you written?
I've tried my hands at a few genres. My crime serials are my most popular. Hard in Hightown, guards breaking the rules to get things done. The Tale of the Champion is the most famous thing I've written, or infamous, maybe.
Yeah.
I started a romance serial once, Swords and Shields, but to be honest, I don't have a knack for romance. Most of my stories end in tragedy. Probably that says something unfortunate about me personally.
Like you have a tragic life? So what shops do you own?
What sort of shops do you own?
Actually, we don't own shops. That was just an example. Mostly we invest in moneylenders. Auction houses, a few mercenary companies, a couple of smithies. I think we own half a beet plantation in Ravane somewhere. Most of that's my brother's doing. Bartrand had business sense. Not much tact, but loads of business sense.
Yeah, the thing with Varric is that he's actually, like, filthy rich. Like, he's ridiculously wealthy. I'm pretty sure there's a codex entry buried somewhere that's like, you know, Varric is, like, stupid rich, right? He just, like, he owns a lot of, yeah, the Tethris family owns a lot of stuff. They invest in things, so they just have money sitting around that's just making more money for them all the time. So that's why Varric never really seems to do much of anything, because he kind of doesn't have to. The writing is just a fun thing that he does. So could you do Liliana's job?
If you've run a spy network, why is Liliana our spy master?
To be honest with you, she's just a better spy master. The truly great ones can keep their distance. They don't get attached to their people. Me, I always wind up babysitting my informants and worrying about their families.
Yeah, you do.
We're in better hands with her.
Yeah, that's, like, I think that's super cute, too, about Varric, that, like, underneath, he's kind of a crusty exterior, but he's actually a huge sweetheart. He's like a big softie, who really, really cares about everybody all the time. That's him basically admitting that that's why he can't do Liliana's job, because he cares too damn much, and he's too nice. He is just way too nice. Tell me about the crossbow.
Where did you get that crossbow? I've never seen one like it.
Bianca? She's one of a kind. There's a hidden shop in Kirkwall called the Black Emporium.
Mm-hmm.
I found her in a barrel labeled swag. The owner sold her to me for a ham sandwich and a pair of yellow ruffled pants.
I don't think I've heard that one before. That's so good. Oh, man. Oh, that's so good. I don't think I've heard that one before. Oh, Varric. Swag. Oh my god. That's so good. Where do they come up with this shit? Oh man. So, why Bianca?
Who is she named for?
I can't tell you.
What? Why not?
And the reason for that is?
Complicated.
Of course.
It's the one story I'll never tell. We just have to leave it at that.
Yeah, it's like the one thing that even Hawk never really found out about. Alright, that's all for now.
Thanks, Varric.
No problem.
Oh, goodness gracious. No, I still have more for you, son. So, yeah, let's I have questions about Hawk. I have so many questions about Hawk.
I read your Tale of the Champion, and I have a few questions.
That's a pretty common reaction. Go ahead.
Alright. So, yeah, let's just get right to the point. Orsino's fate made no sense.
In the book, you say that first Enchanter Orsino turned himself into a giant monster made of corpses. How? Why?
Do I look like an expert on magical weirdness to you? Well, I can't tell you how. For the why, all I can say is he was desperate.
Alright. You made up the Arashok fight.
There's no way Hawk really could have killed the Arashok. It would have started a war with the Kunari.
I was told later that the Kunari disavowed his actions. Apparently, the Arashok didn't get permission before he attacked Kirkwall, and the Qun didn't want another exalted march. When they finally sent a ship to haul the wrecked dreadnought away, they just said, "We will never speak of this again."
Oh gosh.
As far as I can tell, that's the Qun's version of an apology.
Yikes. So, where are Hawk's friends?
Where are the rest of Hawk's associates now?
Meryl decided to look after the elves left homeless by the fighting.
Of course she
She's
did.
done a pretty good job of keeping them away from the mages and Templars, so far. I guess she has plenty of practice avoiding stupid human battles with her old Dalish clan. Fenris has kept himself busy, hunting down the Tevinter slavers who came south to prey on the refugees. I'm not sure exactly where he is at the moment. You can usually follow the trail of corpses, though.
Fair.
Isabella went back to the raiders. She's calling herself an admiral now. I don't know if she's actually in charge or just has a really big hat. Might be the same thing, honestly. Sebastian went back to Starkhaven. I'm sure he's boring all sorts of people there.
No doubt.
Hawk's little brother was off on some warden business near the Anderfell's border last I knew.
Good, good.
Aveline is still guard captain.
Of course.
I'm pretty sure Kirkwall would fall into the sea if she quit her job.
Probably, yeah. It's probably the single thing, the one single thing that's keeping Kirkwall afloat right now is Aveline. Good for her.
Need something?
Yes, let's talk about Red Lyrium.
The red lyrium we found at the temple seemed to upset you.
My brother Bartrand and I sort of discovered Red Lyrium during an expedition in the Deep Roads. We located an ancient Tig, so old it barely looked dwarven. There was this idol there made of it. Bartrand brought it back to the surface, and, well, everything's gone downhill from there.
Indeed. So what is it exactly?
So what is it? Just another kind of lyrium?
The red stuff is lyrium like a dragon is a lizard.
Oh boy.
It's not just a different color. It has a whole host of weirdness all its own. I've written to every mining cast house in Orzammar. No one's seen this stuff before or knows where it came from.
What can it do?
What makes it special?
Regular lyrium can mess you up pretty badly.
Yeah.
But you have to ingest it for that to happen. Red lyrium messes with your mind when you're just near the stuff. You hear singing, get violent, paranoid. And then, it does creepy shit. Makes things float. Brings statues to life.
Yeah.
It also turned Kirkwall's Knight Commander to lyrium. Everyone's been kept at least 100 paces from it since.
So why was it in the temple?
How did the red lyrium get in the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I don't know. So as far as I knew, the only piece to make it to the surface was destroyed. And the location of the Tig it came from is a secret. Did someone find more of it in the Deep Roads? That's not a cheery thought.
Okay, yeah, it's not.
I think that's enough on red lyrium.
Yeah, not really my favorite subject.
So yeah, that gets us a quest. We can find some red lyrium around the world and destroy it, and Varric will like us for it. Which makes sense. I would also like for
You're
someone...
worried about the rifts. I understand that.
Well, someone has to go out and fight the demons.
And someone else has to stay behind and help the sick and the wounded.
Indeed. let's go out here, talk to Cassandra, maybe.
It occurs to me I don't actually know much about you.
Oh,
What do you want to know?
really?
I'm not sure. Where are you from?
You don't already know?
I thought you knew that.
I suppose I could ask Liliana. She has collected a frightening amount of information on you.
Yeah, probably.
But I don't want to ask her. I want to hear it from you.
Well, okay.
The Circle of Magi at Ostwick. At least until the rebellion began.
Yes, I suppose that would have required you to stay on the move.
Indeed it did.
Tell me, do you consider the Free Marches your home? Are you eager to go back?
I don't know. Not necessarily. I mean, I think she misses her friends, but, like, if she went back now, all of her friends are gone. Like, you know, they're not there anymore. So I don't think that's necessarily it. I don't think it's necessarily about the place, anyway. I think, yeah, I think she's learned to make home wherever she happens to be. She's been uprooted enough times at this point in her life that, yeah.
Wherever I am is home enough for me.
That's how I feel now. After years of tending to business for the Divine.
Yeah, I don't think she necessarily has really especially close ties to, like, the Free Marches or even Ostwick. Like, I don't know that she necessarily looks at it that way. And the Circle is always more of an international organization anyway, so... yeah, let's talk about the Chantry.
May I ask you about the Chantry?
It is difficult to say what becomes of the Chantry now. They have no Templars, no leadership, and no one left who is worthy of succeeding the Divine. It has fallen apart when everyone needs it the most. I ache to think what this will mean in the days to come.
So why did you leave the Chantry?
I'm surprised you rebelled against the Chantry.
I left my own order when they took the wrong path. It is no different. But in neither case did I stop caring. Indeed, I care so much that I feel drastic action is necessary. I suppose history shall one day judge my actions.
So, who is Chancellor Roderick?
What influence does Chancellor Roderick really wield?
He's a bureaucrat, responsible for communicating the Divine's will to the rest of the Chantry. Therefore, he's accustomed to the clerics hanging on his every word, hoping his influence will benefit them. Despite that, Roderick is not a bad man. He's frightened, and believes his place is to fill the gap left by Most Holy's death. Some might agree. As far down the chain of command as he is, there is no one left above him.
Will he be a problem?
How big a problem could he be?
No more than he is already.
Okay, so
He
annoying.
sent his message to the College of Clerics. That is the only card he had to play.
Okay.
Dealing with him further only lends him credibility he doesn't deserve.
That's fair, and I think Cullen basically said the same thing when he said he was toothless, you know? So, like, he's already... He had one card, and that was sending a message, being able to send a message to the College of Clerics. He did that, and now, like, there's literally nothing else for him to do except stand around and complain about us. So, I guess he can keep standing around complaining about us if he wants, because what more harm could he possibly do? So, will there be a new Divine?
Will the Chantry replace Divine Justinia?
They will try. Once the priests withdraw for the Grand Consensus, it is against Chantry law for them to emerge without naming a new Divine. Sometimes it takes days, or weeks, or even months.
Yeah, it could take a long
The problem
time.
now is that no clear successor to Justinia exists. All worthy clerics died with her at the Conclave.
So what if they don't agree?
So what happens if they can't agree on someone?
Theoretically, they will argue until exhaustion takes them or they see reason. Practically, however, if the Grand Consensus goes on too long, the Chantry will crumble.
Yeah, probably.
Any cleric with ambition but little sense will see this as her one chance, and plenty of such clerics exist. We shall see what happens. The Inquisition must act in the meantime.
So, would you serve a new Divine?
If they do choose a new Divine, will you serve her?
That depends on whether she would have me. I am a rebel now, remember?
True.
And even if she would, I do not know. It would depend on what type of divine she is. I am no longer in a position to follow blindly, and no new divine could expect such obedience now.
That's true. I don't think anyone with half a brain would expect Cassandra to just join her just because she sits on the Sunburst throne. So should the Chantry be saved at all?
Do you really believe the Chantry is worth preserving?
If you ask my opinion, it is. Absolutely. Cast the Chantry aside and new problems replace old ones. We will have learned nothing from history. The people need stability, and the Chantry needs a new purpose. Andraste had a dream for us. It can still be achieved.
So what new purpose would that be?
So, what should this new purpose be?
A dedication to what is truly important. Instead of building cathedrals and sewing gowns for the divine, the Chantry used to spend its coin feeding the poor. If we are to spread the Maker's word across the world, we must do so with open hearts and open hands.
You sound like an idealist.
That sounds rather idealistic of you.
Does it? I do not think it's so unachievable.
Not that Nadia
The
isn't,
Chantry
too.
has many good,
but
honest people. They just need direction and inspiration. They need to be freed from centuries of adherence to tradition and ceremony. A chance for renewal is at our fingertips. It does not have to come with utter chaos.
Okay.
Thank you.
But I still want to do more.
Yes?
Tell me. Tell me about the Seekers.
Can you tell me more about the Seekers?
The Seekers of Truth were born from the original Inquisition long ago, when it united with the Chantry. Seekers stood above the Templars, watching over them but also investigating magical events they couldn't handle. We were meant to be incorruptible, above reproach. How seldom does reality match the ideal?
Yeah, true. But what are Seekers?
But what are Seekers exactly?
Those who know anything of us think we are Templars. We do not use lyrium, however. Our abilities are different, as was our original purpose. We disciplined the Templars and were accountable only to the divine. And not even her, truthfully.
Then who watched you?
So nobody ever watched over the Seekers?
It was the divine's duty. But she could only do so much when the truth was hidden from her. The Templars have always feared us. When a Seeker arrived at a circle, they knew trouble was afoot. That kind of power is troubling. You begin to think you are the only one who can solve the world's problems.
Yeah.
If you don't see a problem, it doesn't exist. If someone insists it does, they are the blind ones.
Could that be fixed?
Do you think that kind of problem could ever be fixed?
Possibly. Though the Seekers themselves would need to change. They were clearly not willing to, even though they abandoned everything they stood for to avoid it. In my heart, I believe they can still be salvaged, but not by their own hands.
Okay. So, how do you become a Seeker?
How does someone become a Seeker?
Most Seekers begin training in their youth. I was much older, an exception due to my noble birth. We train rigorously for years. Our bodies and minds must be elastic to undergo the vigil, and most fail even then.
So what is the Vigil?
Is the Vigil some kind of initiation?
It is the rite every Seeker must go through in order to summon their gifts. A full year of fasting, prayer, and separation from all distractions, including other people.
Wow.
We empty ourselves of all emotion, focusing only on the purity of our devotion. And the moment it finally ends, it's wonderful. Faith realized. I cannot put it into words.
Huh. Was it magic?
Was it some kind of magic?
I don't fully understand it, to be honest. If the vigil was not so arduous, I'd say more should attempt it. What if mages never needed to fear possession by demons? I'm told it is impossible, however. I suppose I'll never know the truth of it now.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought, and actually if you read the Dragon Age novel Asunder by David Gator, there's some interesting things in there about Seekers and mages and possession and the Rite of Tranquility. So anyway, what abilities do you have?
You mentioned that Seekers have different abilities than Templars.
Entirely. A Templar's abilities come from lyrium and are designed to hunt mages. Ours come from ritual and many years of dedicated training. We cannot be possessed by demons and are immune to mind control. Useful, considering our role.
Indeed.
Seekers can gain other gifts, but that depends on the individual.
So what are your gifts?
What kind of gifts do you have?
I can set the lyrium within a person's blood aflame.
Wow,
Both mages and Templars bend before my will.
that's scary.
Some seekers use it to interrogate, others simply to paralyze. Once there was a seeker who could use it to kill. That particular gift is considered rare.
So why did the Seekers rebel?
Why did your order turn against the Chantry?
We originally united with the Chantry through a treaty that stated they would keep mages under control. It was felt Most Holy had tacitly allowed the Circle of Magi to vote on its independence, thus breaking the treaty. The Seekers saw themselves as justified, and they led the Templars into a war of righteousness.
So you disagree with that?
You sound like you disagree.
We knew what was happening at Kirkwall, where the Mage Rebellion began. We looked into reports of Knight Commander Meredith's harsh treatment of her charges years earlier.
Yeah.
But we found so many shocking cases of magical corruption, it was decided her actions were justified. If we'd been there when it happened, if we'd looked harder at the root causes...
Yeah, I think she would probably take a more a diplomatic road with this. You definitely care deeply about this.
You seem to care a great deal about it.
Too much, if you ask the rest of my order. When faced with a problem, the Seekers would close ranks and crush it. We would find an answer, but only once we felt we weren't being coerced. The moment the mages voted for independence, our response was predictable. It was difficult to watch.
Indeed, I bet it was.
I've no more questions.
But I actually do have some more questions,
Do you
so...
need something?
Yes, you're gonna talk about yourself now.
I'd
Sorry.
like to get to know you better.
You would?
Is that a problem?
Not entirely. I'm just curious as to your motivation.
Everybody wants to know. Gosh. I just want us to be a little bit closer.
Is there any harm in us becoming a little closer?
Plenty.
Is that right?
As you wish. My name is Cassandra Pentecost, daughter of the Royal House of Navarra, 78th in line for the Navarran throne.
Wow.
I joined the Seekers of Truth as a young woman, and was with the Order until they withdrew from the Chantry. I remained as the Divine's right hand, carrying out her order to form the Inquisition. And here we are. That's all there is to know, my lady.
So you're Navarran royalty.
You're a member of Navarra's royal family.
The Pentecosts are a very large clan. Half of Cumberland could say the same.
Really?
No, but it feels that way. I have hundreds of relatives so distant they need charts to prove we're related at all. And they have them. Oh yes. The Pentecosts value their precious blood like it runs with gold.
Is that why you left Navarra?
And you joined the Seekers to get away from that?
It was a life worth getting away from. The Pentecosts are famed for dragon hunting, but few actually pursue the craft. Most are fat and lazy. They pay lip service to the Maker and care only for idle pleasures and past glories. My brother was all that kept me in Navarra. Once he was gone, so was I.
So tell me about Navarra.
You don't seem to like your homeland much.
My family polluted it for me. What little I saw of my homeland was through the bars of a gilded cage. My uncle treated me like a porcelain doll to be placed on a shelf and dusted only when necessary. Thus I did not see Navarra, the real Navarra, until much later. By then I realized I knew it not at all.
What about your parents?
Your uncle? What about your parents?
They had the misfortune of taking the wrong side in the second attempt to overthrow King Marcus. The king executed them, but spared my brother and I since we were family, and children at the time. Thus we were raised by my uncle, a Mortalitasi who preferred the company of his corpses to the living.
Mortalitazi.
Your uncle was a Mortalitasi?
A death mage. He still is. My countrymen do not burn the dead. They bury them in special crypts.
Indeed.
The Mortalitasi supervise the crypts, like priests. Uncle Vestalis oversees the Grand Necropolis. Nevarans spend more time honoring dead relatives than they do with living ones. It is odd to be so fascinated with death and its trappings. I will never understand it.
Alright, so you worked for the Divine?
So you were the right hand to the Divine?
To Divine Justinia, yes. And Divine Beatrix before her, in fact. The position is normally reserved for Templars of the Knights Divine, but my circumstances were unusual.
Unusual how?
You don't know the story? Thank the Maker. I will tell you if you wish, but it isn't as exciting as some drum it up to be. The short version is that I once saved the previous Divine's life. My reward was becoming her right hand.
Okay, what is a right hand?
But what does a right hand do, exactly?
What is your hand capable of? It gives, it takes, it beckons. It makes a fist. Liliana and I extended the Divine's reach beyond the Grand Cathedral. We went where she could not. After Beatrix, I was tired of the position and wanted to return to the Seekers. But Justinia convinced me to stay. Her vision for the future gave me hope.
So you believed in her?
You thought she could really change things?
Justinian knew the war was coming long before it began.
Yeah.
She tried to avert it.
I think a lot of
But
people
the
did.
forces arrayed against her were too strong. Sometimes you have to break a bone so it can be reset. That's where the Inquisition comes in. It was to be the answer. A means to preserve as well as an agent for change. I only wish she had lived to see it.
Okay, so how did you become right hand?
So, what's the story about you becoming the right hand?
Sweet Andraste, do you really want to hear that?
Yes.
It was, what, 18, 20 years ago? Some still discuss it like it happened yesterday. The tale gets bigger each time it's told. I barely recognize myself within it now.
Yeah, that's how stories work.
That's what happens with stories that become legends.
I am not a legend, nor was I then. I was a young woman barely out of training. To hear others tell it, I alone saved Divine Beatrix from a horde of dragons sent to assault the Grand Cathedral.
You kind of did.
Rather impressive for such a young seeker, wouldn't you say?
And the truth is?
I stumbled upon a conspiracy to kill Beatrix. A Templar Knight Commander was at its heart. And there was a dragon battle at the Grand Cathedral. But I had help from loyal mages who rallied to the cause.
It was a pretty big battle.
They freed the dragons from magical control. Without them, the Divine and I would both have died. Yet I became the right hand, and they are forgotten.
She's telling the story of, I believe it's called Dawn of the Seeker. It's like an animated movie that's about, that's basically this story. So yeah, what became of the mages?
What happened to the mages that helped you?
They went back to their circles, with rewards and privileges and Most Holy's gratitude. Many of them died at the conclave.
Ah. Yeah, in fact, I believe one of them was actually her lover, and he died at the conclave. But yeah, that's, you're still a hero.
I think you're a hero, no matter how you downplay it.
Fine. It was 20 years ago. I will not rest upon my laurels.
I wasn't saying you should. So what happened to your brother?
Tell me about your brother.
I would prefer not to speak of Anthony. Another time, perhaps.
Alright.
I'll let you get back to
So
work.
that's one of those things where you can't... I might be able to get the story out of her later if I get high enough approval with her. Yeah, I believe it's called Dawn of the Seeker. It's like a Funimation movie that came out several years ago. It's like a straight to DVD thing. You can watch it if you want. I watched it. It's not like great, but it's fun, I guess. Let's see if we can get some more out of Liliana here.
Reports of fade rifts and demons keep coming. The people are terrified, and it's only getting worse. The only thing that will calm their fears now is the hope that someone out there can save them. You have to be that someone. No one else has any power over the rifts.
No pressure or
Seal
anything.
them. Your legend will spread, and Thedas will learn to trust the Inquisition.
Yeah, yeah, why do you care about mages?
Why do you want me to seek out the rebel mages? Why do you care?
I've known mages. Some of them were better people than me. And yet I'm free and they're not. It's not right.
Okay. Yeah, tell me about yourself.
Let's talk about you.
Me?
Tell me about your past.
What did you do before you worked for the Divine?
I was a bard, an Orlesian spy for many years. For a time I also served a small cloister in Lothering. After the Blight, the Divine called on me to oversee her personal network.
I'd like to be a bard, would she? I don't know if she would, but I'm gonna ask
me
it.
to be a bard.
Being a bard is so much more than being a spy. It involves a keen understanding of politics, the ebb and flow of influence, the great game. The bard's is an intricate dance where a smile can be sharper than any dagger. The best way to learn is to immerse yourself in it. Perhaps when this is all over, I'll teach you.
Nice. Okay, got any stories?
Bards tell tales. I bet you tell some good ones.
There are plenty of tales in the library. Perhaps you should look for them there.
Yeah, Liliana is
I
not...
should leave you to your work.
We can always talk later.
Liliana is not as interested in singing songs and telling stories as she used to be, unfortunately. Wait.
Did you need something?
Yeah, let's see, you're well connected.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
Alright, so... Yeah, let's talk about her and the hero
You
Ferelden.
have a history with the warden who ended the Blight, don't you?
I count her among my closest friends.
Yes!
She's probably the only person I trust completely. Haven't heard from her in some time. She just disappeared. I try not to think about what might have happened.
That is very, worrying. So, how do you know Josephine?
You seem to know Josephine quite well.
I met her a long time ago, but we didn't become good friends until years later. After the Blight, in fact. I'd just returned to Val Rayo, and she welcomed me back by throwing a diplomatic ball.
Ooh.
She was the Antivan ambassador at the time, you see. The ball was... alright. Too many politicians. At midnight, Josie and I left to find a real party.
Oh my.
We've been friends ever since.
What's a real party, then?
What do you consider a real party?
It's not a real party until someone's small clothes are pinned to a chantry board.
That
And
is true.
That's all I'm saying about it.
So, did you know Hawk?
They say you spent some time in Lothering. Did you know the champion?
We spoke a few times. I seldom left the chantry, and we never became more than casual acquaintances. I saw more of the Hawk twins. Bethany in particular. She would spend time in meditation at the chantry, and she seemed to like my stories. The other one, the young man, he was a little surly.
Yes, he probably
I did
was.
encounter the champion again later in Kirkwall. Those were terrible times.
Why were they terrible? Yeah, I can't
Was this when
imagine.
the chantry was destroyed?
No, that happened later. But even then, the news coming out of Kirkwall was disheartening. There were some in Val Rayo who wanted the Divine to declare an exalted march on Kirkwall. Justina sent me there to see if that could be avoided, to gather evidence to calm those agitating for war. I guess it didn't matter in the end.
Okay.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am.
Yeah, I do, and you're not leaving here. Oh, wait. Whoa. Wait.
I'm listening.
You're Justinia's left hand.
They called you the left hand of the Divine.
That they did. What of it?
Why don't you join my party?
I could use the left hand of the Divine at my side out there.
Every agent out in the world is my eyes, my ears, my blade. Wherever my people are, I am also. Coming with you, leaving my post, would blind and bound me. Do you see?
Yes, I understand. Okay. So what is the left hand?
What exactly does the left hand of the Divine do?
A divine always has enemies, and Justinia had more than most. I protected her. I watched, had an ear to every door. I identified threats, and I dealt with them.
Why so many enemies?
Why did Justinia have so many enemies?
There were many who felt she was unfit to be divine. She had a past, a worldly life, and like many, she wasn't given to the Chantry as a child. She chose it, and somehow that made her unworthy. And because they thought she was unworthy, they wished her harm.
You're evading the question.
You still haven't told me what you did, exactly.
I handled difficult situations that couldn't be resolved through more delicate means.
So she killed people. Tell me more about Justinia.
I'd like to hear about Justinia. What was she like?
A friend. A mentor. Like me, she had secrets, made mistakes. It made her human. I think her followers responded to that.
That seems a little personal. How did you meet?
How did you and Justinia meet?
I met her a long time ago, before she became divine. Before she was Justinia. When I met her, she was Mother Dorothea. I was at my lowest. Broken, lost. And she saved me. No, wait. She hates it when I say that. I saved myself. She just showed me it was possible.
I'm gonna ask this even though it seems a little bit like a prying question, but...
Was there something more than friendship between you?
You're asking if we were lovers. Typical. I was devoted to her, therefore it must be romantic. Love is common. Love is simple. My bond with Justinia was something greater. She was a sister, a mother, a teacher. So to answer your question, yes, it was more than friendship.
Okay. I do like her answer, though.
We'll talk more
The question
later.
is a little bit impertinent, but I appreciate Liliana's answer.
Need something?
Yeah, any updates?
Anything I should know?
I've nothing to report at the moment.
Okay. That's fine.
I'll leave you to your work.
Alright. Sorry about that. Had to, deal with an emergency. Alright. I wanted to talk to Josephine again.
It is the whisper in the night, the lie.
When will you be able to get us the crafting supplies we need?
Greetings.
Let's see here. So, tell me about yourself, Josephine. Montelier sounds familiar, yeah.
I'd swear our families have met before.
Perhaps. Everyone of distinction in the Free Marches attends Lady Trevelyan's summer balls.
Great Aunt Lucille always did love a party.
I don't recall seeing you at any of them.
Yeah, she was probably, I don't know, she was probably a little too awkward.
I was less than sterling company when I was younger.
Yeah.
Modest in temper, bold in deed.
You know the Trevelyan family motto.
Heraldry is a passion of mine.
Nice. What does your family do?
What business are the Montiliers in exactly?
We began as merchants. My ancestors founded the first trade routes to Rivain. We once sent entire fleets across the waking sea.
Once?
But not anymore.
No. These days, our vessels are a touch more modest.
Alright, tell me about your work.
What did you do before coming here?
I had the great honor of serving Antiva's crown as ambassador to Orlais. I'm also first in line to become the head of House Montilier, though my siblings attend to our mercantile affairs.
Are you doing this for Antiva?
How strong are your past loyalties?
I would never have given up my position if I did not intend to fully commit to the Inquisition. We cannot fall back on borders. Antiva is as threatened as any country by the rebellions.
Fair.
If anything, the alliances I forged there may help our current cause.
Will we have other causes, you think?
Do you think the Inquisition will continue after we seal the breach?
If we prove ourselves by healing the breach, people may turn to us for other things. Protection, counsel, justice. The Inquisition offered these once to those in need.
Alright. Yeah, do you believe I'm holy?
Tell me, do you believe I was saved by Andraste at the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I should much like to believe so, Your Worship. The miracles Andraste performed were so long ago, they're difficult to picture. If it were truly her and the Fade who saved you, well, in any case, many already believe you walk in the Maker's light.
True.
Let's speak later.
Goodbye.
Later is
What may I do
now.
for you?
So how did you meet Liliana?
How do you and Liliana know each other?
We moved through similar circles in Norlay. I believe we actually met in Val Royaux. Liliana was quite an accomplished player of the game by then.
She probably knows what the game is, but let's ask this anyway.
What exactly do you mean when you say the game?
Forgive me. The game refers to the slow duels of influence among the noble and powerful of Orlais. It's a rather light-hearted name for the matter, but Orlesians are fond of playful touches.
Indeed they are. So what are your duties?
What exactly does your job entail?
I meet with ambassadors from various factions and countries and cement alliances with them. We are a young cause. Diplomacy is essential to our credibility.
So you're a representative.
Then you speak for the Inquisition with these nobles.
I do. Someone must foster goodwill on our behalf, as well as prevent controversy as news of us spreads.
Are we that controversial?
How heavily are our actions scrutinized?
Make no mistake, every noble house, every throne is waiting to see what the Inquisition does next. Many are willing to pledge support, if offers are made in just the right fashion. I intend to see that they are.
Alright, what brought you here?
Tell me how you came to work for the Inquisition again.
I'd been considering leaving my post in Antiva for a new challenge when Liliana recruited me. There's such unrest in Talos, and the Inquisition seems a promising method to stop it. It's to everyone's benefit if we prevent the Mage-Templar conflict from spreading further.
Is Order why you signed on?
So was it the prospect of stability that drew you here?
The full impact of the Mage Rebellion has yet to be felt, and that was before the death of the Divine. The violence must be curbed before we see it turn to full-scale war.
Yeah, I mean, she went to the conclave, like, Nadia went to the conclave with a delegation of mages in an attempt to stop this. So, yeah, I think she does absolutely agree with that.
I can only imagine the bloodshed if it escalates further.
I'm afraid history holds many examples of what will happen if it does.
Alright, anything to report?
What do the people make of us?
Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies. We must aim for more.
Alright, how are our guests?
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
Sir Griffith of Denerim, a most distinguished knight of the realm. He's defeated darkspawn, slain demons, chased down abominations. Just don't ask him about it over dinner. He spares no detail.
Okay. I will ask about our allies some other time when I have a few more allies to ask about, because I can ask about individual people. So, I will do that next time. Next time I will actually go to Val Royaux. That's probably what's going to happen next time. Oh no, that's not what I'm looking at. We're going to do this. So yeah, next time. As always, if you like what you see, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Later.
Does the dark